Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
So here we have the Book of the Month author for our September issue. And I have to tell you that you are going to just love his short stories. His name is Ted Shiskin. And Ted actually was born in Miami, lived in Miami. He's been an architect there. His whole life has been there. He now lives in Hollywood. But
Pembroke Pines.
Pembroke Pines, okay, because I know that it's sometimes you don't know where the difference is, but it's Pembroke Pines. And I will just say that Ted he's just a fighter. And the reason I say that is because he has MS. And he has it so that he can't function the way all of us function. But I will tell you something. He has a brain that just doesn't stop. And he uses something to help him type, which is called Dragon. And what he can produce, most people can't produce with both hands working. So with that, I want to introduce you to Ted Shiskin. So, Ted, thank you for being on our show today.
Well, thank you. And I want to thank Anita and a publication on BoomerTimes for picking me as a Book of the Month. It just came out, finished it just about a month ago or so. And she has given me the opportunity to have it advertised all over the country, most of the part of the state, so people can enjoy what I've enjoyed writing, adventures and mysteries and excitement.
So that's what I want to ask you about, because when I start, before I even ask someone for us to do their reviews, I kind of just go through their book briefly. Well, I couldn't put his book down. He has a very clever way. And these are short stories. Some are shorter than others. Some are, 2 pages. Some pages are 10 or 15. But I have to say, I don't know they're all different. So I don't know. I can't say that it's about himself or his wife or his dog or anything else. I don't know where you get this in your brain. Do you sleep at night, Ted?
I could not write my dreams. They would be so weird. They'd put me away.
That's very funny.
It's the truth. They're stupid and crazy and weird.
Well, how do you come up with those unusual endings?
I have only started 3 of my stories. I've written about 50. I've only started about 3 with a plan and a schedule. There was one time my aide helped me, wheeled me in from the computer room into where I sleep. And in that time that it took 20 seconds, I had already started a story in my head and had the ending.
That's like genius. I mean, I don't think most writers can work that fast. Your brain must just be on fire.
And most of my stories, I'll start off just with a description. In fact, the first story that I ever wrote was a description of a person walking through a cow pasture and dreaming of how it was when he used to live there. And I stopped that story several years ago and picked it up, and it stopped as he was remembering smelling smoke and bacon and eggs coming from the fireplace, and I stopped that. Then I ended it and calling it a journey, and you would have to read it to find out what happened later, and it's a heck of a surprise where I went from that to this ending.
Well, do you find that life is like that you expect something and it turns out differently?
Well, I've been problems with. I hate to say this over the phone, but I've been having problems with diarrhea, and I thought it was really terrible. And then I found out that it wasn't, and I says, "Well, God just gave me some hope, some more hope." And then here comes your magazine in the paper, and my wife opens up the magazine and happens to open it up to the page with the, look, there's reviews in it. So I said, wow. So right away, I email Anita. An hour later, I get a call back from Anita. I want you to be our book of the month for September. So there was two God's gifts right in a row.
I see. So that's how things happen. But I told you when I first met you, because I had such a pleasure of going down there and meeting you and your wife. It's Jean, isn't it?
Yes, Jean.
Yeah, yeah, she's quite a woman. I remember that you also are an artist. I mean, you're an artist with words, but your paintings are just remarkable.
Yes, I think my art is great too, but it's been very difficult with my wife not being able to walk too well and to get around. And it is very, very difficult to get your art into a gallery unless people know you. I used to sell well down in the Keys, but that gallery went busted. Mainly my art is of my idea of the Everglades. They're not actual scenes, but they do look like the Everglades. And I also have paintings from trips from the west to the east, to the mountains, to deserts, and stuff like that.
Well, I was thinking, and I'm not the kind of person to tell an author what to do, but maybe I know you're writing more books. Maybe you could incorporate your paintings into your books. Is that possible?
Well, they would have to go with the story, and I would have to think about that. And besides that, it would make the book more costly, and I can't afford to do that.
Yeah, that's true. If you want to go with color, you're absolutely right. But I certainly admire what you were able to do before, that you have it there, and that now you've switched to writing. Tell me how that all started. When did you decide to become a writer?
Well, I was writing when I was a kid. And, actually, the first story that I did, and it isn't in one of these books, but in a way, maybe I can tell this quick story. This junior executive was waiting for a promotion, went to the board meeting, and did not get the promotion. He was very unhappy, but he went back. It was 11 p.m., went back and did his work, left his office, walking to the corridor. Only one elevator was available, and he met the new secretary there, and they greeted each other, and he liked her, had liked her immediately. They get into an elevator, and it starts down, and all of a sudden it jolts, and there's a monstrous noise and explosion, and they're wondering what's happening, and they start huddling together and scared to death, and all of a sudden they realize maybe this is the end. So just for a slight moment, they figure about really getting it on together. And she says, "What am I doing? What am I doing?" And then all of a sudden, they hear a voice from above the elevator cab saying, "Cut, we'll shoot the next scene later."
That's very good.
That's not in this story, in this book.
Right. So
that's like my surprises.
Right, that's exactly true. So when you decided, though, now that you have this a disability, you're challenged, it didn't make a difference to you. Did you know about the Dragon computer system before?
No, I didn't. I've had it, I think, for, I guess probably this Christmas is probably 3 years. My daughter saw it somewhere and bought it for Christmas. Boy, was that a joy.
Yeah.
With the MS, I can't walk anymore. My right arm is disabled. I'm trying to get it working. But my hand works good enough. Without the left hand, I would be completely useless. I couldn't turn over in bed and help my aide to change diapers and stuff like that.
And so you have, what I like so much about you, besides your writing, is your spirit. You know, you are so positive. Do you have any advice for people who find themselves with physical challenges and how they can manage them?
I really can't say. My greatest gift is my wife, If it wasn't for her, I would be dead. I was in a nursing home after having problems with a heart condition, and they asked her, well, where's he going to go? She says, he's going home with me. He's not going in a nursing home. I have two great aides. We have 24-hour help, which is costing us a lot of money. But we have two of the greatest aides in the world. They are like sisters to me and to us. And if you don't have help and care like I have, you would completely shoot yourself.
So your advice is to make sure somehow you get care that you care about and that they care about you.
That's right. You need people that care about you. Our church, St. Paul Lutheran Church, we have so many people that help us and come around to see us. We have one gentleman, Lou, who's been coming for 5 or 6 years. 8 years, Gene says. And he helps me. I have to get up with a Hoyer lift out of bed, set into a wheelchair, and rolled into the computer where I am at 2 times a day, from in the afternoon and the evening before I go to bed. And besides doing the stories and everything, I write stupid and crazy poems.
Well, I want to go back to your stories because that's really why we're interviewing you. The name of the book is Golden Treasures, a collection of short stories, and the author is Ted Shiskin. That's Shiskin. Now, we want you to buy his book. It's very inexpensive. I mean, to get a book like this for $6.89 is amazing. You can even get the ebook at $2.99. The way you do this is they're actually found on a publisher's called thebookpatch.com, thebookpatch.com, but you can put in Golden Treasures, Ted Shiskin, author, and if you click on that, it will come up. But the publisher is the Book Patch. Now, the important thing to remember about this is that the book is a perfect book for a gift because there are a lot of people that don't want to sit and read through a whole novel. And they're wonderful novels, but short stories seem to be very popular now because you can read one or read two, put the book down. Then you go back again and read them. But his short stories are pretty compelling. I don't know if you're going to put it down so fast. I didn't. But there was one that I really picked on, which I thought was so great. And, you have the one like Aztec Gold. Now that goes 16 pages. But it's a great name, and it was a very interesting story as compared to some of the other ones. And let's see, which was the one that I actually... Oh, I loved the one called Moonlight Painting. I just love that.
That was a crazy one, and I have no idea. I just started something, and I thought, well, I'm going to be crazy and completely Stephen King with this one.
Right. That's right, very sci-fi. It was really... But I really got into it. I thought, who is that person? Well, I don't want to give that away, but anyway, the painter, whoever the person in the story, sees something in his painting that he is not doing himself. I mean, I thought that was really amazing.
Well, I don't know how I came up with it. Like I said, a lot of crazy things, and maybe it's something out of some of my crazy dreams, too. I don't know where that came from.
But you also have a great command of the English language. So you can take these ideas and put them into something that's very readable.
Well, that has helped the English language. I had a friend, a publisher that I thought was going to do my short stories, and he liked them very much. And he says, well, send us the whole manuscript. But then when the other people says, we don't publish short stories. So I had to self-publish. And Book Patch has been the most amazing people to work with, to easily publish you. But I had to make sure that my book was edited as good as possible. And my daughter and friends helped me with that. And my wife helped me with some of that. And I have a good friend also that has helped me all the way from Louisiana.
You have some other books called Surprise, Surprise.
Those were older ones,
Uh-huh.
and Intrigue, Mystery, and Adventure.
Right.
No longer in print. But those were, when I had those done, I found a publisher. I'm not going to give their name because they're a scam. If you can find their name, if you go on the web and ask for scam publishers, and you'll find out that they are being sued all over the place.
But the point is, you wrote the books. You see, that's what I'm saying. You wrote books, so you were kind of cutting your teeth now to get into something like Golden Treasures, which is great. And now you said that you're working on another one, right?
Well, I've got enough to do another one. Well, it's all done. All I have to do is make sure that it's edited correctly. And my friend that has a publishing company that helped me, he told me how to edit. And he says, you can do it yourself. There'll still be mistakes. But my daughter helped me. But you have to know editing. You have to know what words to use, what words not to repeat, your language, English language, and you have to know the correct way to write a sentence where you have a character and make sure that it's not something else is happening and not the character is doing this. And it's very ticklish way to write, and you may see this in some people's writing. In fact, when I had short stories on Amazon last year, and people criticized me for that, and I learned from those reviews.
Well, I think that these are so well done, and you do very good character development. I really know the people in your stories.
That's what one person said. I think if you read on the back of my book, there's reviews there, and some of those reviews from some of the people who read it have indicated that.
Yeah, well, that's very important because some people, if you don't you may have great stories, but if the people don't know and care about the characters, it kind of goes out. And, in a short story, it's harder to do that. It's easier in a novel because you have a lot of pages to develop. But the short stories are harder to do that.
You did a tremendous review, and I really thank you for it. And I thank you for the added portion that you put online for me, too.
Right. Well, of course, and then the Miami Herald is, I don't know, if it's coming out, I think, tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, and then it'll be, another 19,000 copies are going to be inserted in there. But the point is I am as another human being, I'm very proud to know you, to know that no matter what has happened to you, you keep typing them out. And so I just hope that everyone's listening this is so inexpensive, and it means so much to him. He would love to share his book, Golden Treasures, and this is how you do it. You put in, if you go to Google, you can go to Golden Treasures, that's with a plural, Golden Treasures, Ted Shiskin, that's Shiskin, author, and it's you can click on that, or you can go to thebookpatch.com. It only costs $6.89, or if you like ebooks, you can do it for $2.99. My goodness, you can't even get an ice cream cone anytime today now, and for $2.99. But I can assure you, as a publisher of BoomerTimes, that you will love his book. You will appreciate it, and actually, it has nothing to do with his having MS or challenge, whether he had anything wrong now or not. It's an excellent book. It just makes me just have more, I think it has more impact when someone has struggled to write something because of some disability, that it's even more valuable. So it makes a great gift book. It's a very pretty cover. You can see it on the cover of our magazine. It's really very nice. Golden Treasures. How did you get that name?
I don't know how I picked it up. Because of the Aztec gold. And then I started looking in online to find out, to get pictures, but all the pictures online of gold coins were all copyrighted. so my friend told me he says some Persian coins. So he took a picture of it. So that was Fred Squires that did the painting for me. And I might suggest to people the cost of shipping is about $5 if it's a single book. But if a group of you could get together, you could bring that cost way down by ordering 10 or 12 books, and you will save some money that way.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was thinking there are a lot of book clubs out there, and you're always looking for a book that everybody can read and then discuss. Well, imagine if you were able to get something like this, which is a short stories, and it would be interesting. You could take 2 or 3 of them and then discuss them, because they're very different, as a matter of fact. And then you can do what Ted said. You know, you can order 10 maybe at the same time, and it would be less money, but the book isn't very heavy. I forget, how many pages is it? About 100?
141.
Yeah, 141, right?
6 inches by 9 inches.
Right. Of course, as an architect, he would know that. And so you expect to keep writing as much as you can.
Yeah.
Do you, and let's see, I don't even know, is there any sex in your books? Probably.
No.
My husband always winds up putting sex in his books, I have to tell you. I don't know what that means.
I go to church, and I want people in church to read my books.
But people in church have sex, Ted. Sorry.
Right, I know that's true, and it's true. But no, it's suggested, but so it's not going to embarrass anybody.
Okay. Well,
I've got a funny little joke in there. I won't tell you.
Okay.
but it's not sex-wise.
Okay. Well, there are a lot of jokes you can have, and they're not sex-wise. But my husband just kind of gets. He always adds that in his books, and it's always funny how people, that whole word is so strange. But so now, on your covers of this new book that you're writing, you said that are you pretty close to? You said you finished it.
What, the second book?
The new one you're working on.
Oh, no. I've been worried about trying to get things done on this and finished, and trying to get out to how they can find my book. I've been worried trying to get that done. Mm-hmm. But I've got 12 stories finished, and I've got more. But I want to see how this one goes before I put out another one. If there's a big demand, and if there's a big demand, then I'll do another book within a year.
Well, Ted, the one thing that I can assure you of is I know that my husband's written books. I've written a book with him. And somehow he doesn't get a lot of, and he's a good writer. Somehow, other than 50 Shades of Grey, authors do such good work, and they don't sell a lot of books. And I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't know if it's because people don't take the time to sit down anymore and read books. I don't know, but boy, you go to Barnes & Noble and you see all these books that people are writing.
Yes, it's true. I am hopefully going to try to see if I can get something arranged with Amazon and Book Patch. I don't know if I can. I've got to find out if I can still make a profit from it. So I don't know about that yet.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you wrote it, though, the fact that you are somebody who is an author, there are people who will read it. You just never know who has read it and what that means to them, how it changed their life, because it does. You know yourself when you read a book, it stays with you. And so the fact that you did this, you got it out there now, it's out in the energy of the world. And one never knows what will happen. But a lot of people have these things in their heads and it never goes anywhere. They never make a book out of it.
I know. I started a novel on the American Revolution, and I'm still trying. I'm hopefully going to try to make a novelette of it, maybe about 70 or 80 pages. But I haven't gotten back to that yet.
So this is really what keeps you going, isn't it?
Yes, and I want to get back to painting, too, because there's a painting I want to do for my wife.
That is so nice of you. Ted, I have to say that There are many people who have, they don't have any of the challenges that you have. And they sit around, watch television, let the days pass. They don't volunteer. They don't do anything. And just look at you. You really should I can't pat you on the back because I'm not there with you. This is a call-in interview, but you should have someone pat you on the back and say, "Attaboy, you're doing a great job."
Thank you.
Well, I think that's true. And, we haven't talked about your wife at all. And I must say that behind every man is a great woman. You just have to look at what Jean, his wife, has done to make it possible for him. In fact, she was so thrilled about his having this review, and she just absolutely adores him. And she's been a school teacher. You might want to just tell us a little bit about Jean for a minute.
Well, she's a school teacher for 30 years, and we've been married 51 years. We have 2 children, both in college, our grandchildren, and our daughter lives 5 minutes from us, and we see her every day, and she helps get me up, sometimes her son, and sometimes her husband, but their family is very close to us. And Jean has problems on her own. It's hard for her to walk. She has a broken kneecap, which was just mended just by little pins, and that's throwing her back out of joint. And she's the one that does the shopping, and so she's in pain constantly. And she just had a scare about a possible cancer, but there's no scare about that anymore.
Oh, thank goodness.
Thank God we don't have to worry about that.
Yes.
But without her, anyway, one of us, if we go, we hope both of us go together. We'd be lost without each other.
Well, you are a wonderful couple, and you're a wonderful writer, and we're so proud and privileged to have Golden Treasures, a collection of short stories, on our cover and inside. Be sure to read it. It's on page 7 of our September issue. And, Ted, thank you so much for doing this with us. It was a great pleasure.
Well, thank you. It was fun.
All right, this is going to wind up going on YouTube, so we'll tell you when that happens, okay?
All right, okay.
Thank you, Ted. Bye.
Bye.